What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel. Today we're here for episode 34 of our Madden 23 Carolina Panthers franchise. Today's episode is part 1 of our year 2 going into year 3 offseason. I'm breaking up into 2 parts because of the Madden franchise draft glitch. The November title update went live today, and I'm ready to record it today. I got a wedding. I'm going to be gone Friday, Saturday, maybe back Sunday. I can't wait. I got to get into the offseason here a little bit. And I was always kind of planning on wanting to do something like this because our offseason is going to be massive. From one standpoint is you don't want the draft glitch to completely ruin the franchise mode, which is very important. But we also are going to be moving on from, in my opinion, the best player in the NFL, Christian McCaffrey. Him and his agent met with the team just after the trade deadline. And I guess all along they wanted to be moved to the trade deadline. It didn't become public knowledge to us once the trade deadline already had closed. And, at 28, we're going for a rebuild. CMC, we just made the plan. We're going for a rebuild. We don't have a franchise quarterback. There's still a lot of holes in the roster. Chris McCaffrey at 28, this is going to be the final of his prime. He doesn't want to be wasting his prime on a rebuild team, which I do respect. He's been one of the most dynamic playmakers in the NFL since we had him in here. He was the NFL receptions leader. He was running back of the year. So at 28, this is the sell high time for Christian McCaffrey. I would have liked to keep him. Obviously, look at the stats. What does he mean to us? Here are 2 years with Christian McCaffrey. He's stayed healthy, which has kind of been a knock against Christian McCaffrey. You pay him a lot of money, one of the most expensive running backs in the NFL, and he hasn't been able to stay healthy. For us, just an insane amount of carries. 1,700 yards, 19 touchdowns last year, 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns this year, over 100 catches in both seasons, 800 yards, 6 touchdowns last year, over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. He is the most complete offensive weapon player in the NFL, and we'll do right by him. If he wants to get traded, I don't want a disgruntled player here, so it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know 100% yet how I want to handle this trade. I have an idea. I think on one hand, I want draft picks, right? We do not have a quarterback. I don't know what quarterback's going to be available in free agency. I actually I have a gut feeling Jalen Hurts is going to be there, and we might have to think about it. But as you look at our team, we have 2 first-round picks going into this draft right now. We have pick 23 and pick 28, that's nice. Happy. Awesome. We got 2 first-round picks. But even with those 2 first-round picks, where they fall in the draft, I don't know if we can package both those to go up and grab one of the top quarterbacks. Right now, it's really a 3-headed race. Shane Drew, top 5. Gary Foote, top 5. Joe North, top 5. They're not, unfortunately, top 5 true talent. We got Max Hughes there a little bit later that is, roughly the similar grade. But, when we get to that last part, right before the draft, where you can kind of private workout guys, I think we're going to go for definitely both. We're probably going to go all 3 quarterbacks, honestly. But Shane Drew and Gary Foote in particular, I want to figure out if they got elite throw power. If they have elite throw power, one of those guys is clearly going to be quarterback 1 for us. And there's other teams that need quarterbacks. So with 23 and 28, I don't know if we're going to be able to go. You might have to try to get the first second overall pick to get one of these 2 quarterbacks that we really like. And even then, I don't know if 23 and 28 gets you all the way up that far. So there's an idea as it relates to the Christian McCaffrey trade that we need draft picks. But there's also a side of me that's kind of want to use the trade finder. I wonder what kind of ridiculous offers we're going to get by throwing in the trade finder. That could be the best way to handle a Christian McCaffrey trade, given, we know Christian McCaffrey moved on from the Carolina Panthers in real life, and the value that he got from the 49ers was, fair, I suppose, given the context of Christian McCaffrey in real life. But Christian McCaffrey in real life is not Christian McCaffrey in our Panthers franchise. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to go right up to the draft. Everything up until the draft will be in today's video. And first thing is first, head coach, coaching staff. Have we made a decision? I have, in the context, we're going to be moving on from Andre Weaver. I definitely think we need something a little different as it relates to the offensive coordinator. Darren Young, our defensive coordinator, I think the way that he has got Brian Burns playing, the way that he has generally had our secondary playing. Now, the last playoff game was bad. Nothing went right on either really side of the football. But generally speaking, Darren Young's defensive unit has been very good. It has won us more games than it should. So I think between Darren Young and Luke Kuechly getting this team with a 58 overall Nick Foles to the playoffs, we're going to pick up a 1-year option on Luke Kuechly. We're going to give him the entirety of year 3 to prove that Luke Kuechly can make that switch from all-pro, all-world linebacker on the field to all-time type head coach. Guy that can bring us to the Super Bowl head coach. Guy that can identify good players in the draft and in free agency head coach. Guy that can be the biggest legend in the history of the Carolina Panthers, from an on-field player and trains like that off the field to a head coach. We're going to give Luke Kuechly one more season. But as it relates to the offensive coordinator, I had just the guy. David Tepper had no control over my decisions, but he very much agreed of fixing a past mistake as it relates to our offensive coordinator. We've decided to bring back Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. I feel like got a raw deal under Matt Rule. Matt Rule is the one that wanted him out, not so much David Tepper. So it wasn't a hard sell to the owner to bring him back in the building. He went on to the Buffalo Bills, was their quarterback coach, worked with Josh Allen, has even more influence. You told me that this guy, didn't really have an opportunity when he was here with Carolina. It was still really the Matt Rule show, toxic environment, probably trying to sling wiener pills. All those crazy things that we saw kind of unveil itself. The reason why we had to move on from Matt Rule and send him back to college. So you kind of you almost give Joe Brady a little bit of a break. And what is his background? Oh, just the 2019 LSU Tigers, which arguably is like the greatest college offense of all time and success story in Joe Burrow, a Ohio State transfer who didn't look like much, and he made him into a first-round pick quarterback and franchise quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. And then you go work with the Buffalo Bills, one of the best offenses in the NFL, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And with our idea, there might be a chance that we get a quarterback of free agency if there's the right situation presents itself, but we're still going into this offseason with the idea that we got to get a young quarterback. What better developer for a young quarterback than a man that has worked with Josh Allen and a man that is responsible for the success of Joe Burrow. So welcome back to the Carolina Panthers, to Luke Kuechly staff, Joe Brady. The final thought on our coaching trees. We got everything kind of in place. So let's spend the rest of our points here for Luke Kuechly. So a little bit of like what we've been doing. So for player growth, Luke Kuechly, clearly, the XP boosts need to come on the defensive side of the ball. We fully maxed out linebackers. He's Luke Kuechly. We fully maxed out corners because that's how good our secondary is. We already get the final piece, which is all our players count as scheme fits during training. So there's more XP there. We have 21 points, and it's like, do I go for safeties? I feel like we don't with Keith Taylor. Obviously, in a perfect world, we can get all these upgrades, but kind of prioritizing. I think now it is time to focus on, getting the after-school tutoring, getting additional focus. And now there's a gamble. If we only have Luke Kuechly for one more year on a contract, kind of a prove-it year, let's see. You were an interim head coach. We'll give him 1 year. It's a perfect situation. Maybe spending this last 21 on one of these ones is best, because if you go all the way down this tree, we still need 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 points to max out what we want to do on this side. It's like, if he's only here for 1 year, that's going to be a waste of points because we're not going to be using any of these upgrades. Versus if we're just going for a 1 year period, why not get an additional 10% XP boost for our safeties or for our defensive line? Feels like, this might be more beneficial for the 1 year deal, even though we have kind of already started working on the staff mod. So I think with this last 21, let's we'll go D-line, because you get 3. You get left defensive end, right defensive end, and 2, guess in terms of starters. This impacts 4 starters, whereas the safeties, which don't need a whole lot because Keith Taylor's already in the room. He's like a player coach at this point. You only get your free safety and strong safety. So we're going to spend our last 20 here fully maxing out the XP gain for our defensive line. And now it is time for the offseason. First stage of the offseason, we got a new mock draft, fresh, crisp new mock draft. Let's see what C4, the YouTuber, has as mock. So Shane Drew is expected to be the top quarterback out of South Alabama. He's the top, kind of consensus guy. Man, that is a little bit of a fall. We went under the assumption that quarterback was, we 3 guys in the top 5, and the next one's fallen to 15. Which makes you think, did I know something we don't? Is there going to be that massive of a gap between Shane Drew and Gary Foote, who, at least from, even though Joel North is the rope man, does seem like they are the top 2 quarterbacks, so they have a chance at elite throw power. Anyways, we are currently projected, mocked at pick 23 with Isaiah Perry, tight end out of Penn State, and Jared Sheldon runs to like a traditional linebacker. I wouldn't be surprised. He actually looks kind of sick. A pursuit, B zone coverage, if he's a good athlete to boot. I mean, Joe North expected to go a couple picks. So it does look somewhat reasonable, even with our regular pick. Joe North, the rope man, who I do think we will use one of our 3 private workouts with, is going to be attainable without having to move anything. Again, we still have the Christian McCaffrey trade, but I definitely want to consider more. So potentially the opportunity. But then again, you know what? If we scout and Shane Drew and the quarterback out of Kentucky, Gary Foote, don't have elite, they just have great throw power, not elite throw power. It sucks. I would like to know that before free agency, depending on who is available in free agency. What was the last mock draft? What do they kind of have us going with? It might be the same kind of area code. Matthias Rich, safety, don't need a safety at all. I think I actually think you think we hate Keith Taylor apparently with this lock. At least mock draft 3 is a little bit better, but I'm definitely not going tight end. Tommy Tremble is my tight end. I have no intention of trading him, and I guess linebacker. But even then, we have... That one makes a little bit more sense, right? If we let Shaq Thompson walk, and then you got, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson reinvented as a linebacker, Roquan Smith as a linebacker. That one makes a little bit more sense. I'm definitely not going to be going tight end unless that guy looks like Kyle Pitts-esque. Looking at free agency here, we don't have a whole lot of money. We didn't get quite the influx. We literally got like $600,000 as far as a boost. So, yeah, Shaq Thompson is likely on the way out. So that linebacker pick makes a little bit more sense. And, Quez, I'd love to keep Quez. But I do think we need to be... Zane Gonzalez has been an excellent kicker for us as well. But we need to be conscientious of what is going to be available in the quarterback market. Because, we might have to surpass the draft if there's the right quarterback, the right fit quarterback for us. Like I said, man, Jalen Hurts is interesting. Me and Jalen Hurts don't have the best history with one another, but I don't know. We can't really talk about anything. We don't have our salary cap to really deal with re-signing anybody. I think the offseason now is at a spot. What happens with Christian McCaffrey? So let's figure that out. Drum roll, please. For retirements, had a couple of our own: Joe Hayden, Tavon Austin, Jared Cook, Cam Newton, all guys that were kind of on the roster anyways. Just more so to mentor the young players, the big 2 that are gone from the NFL. We got Harrison Smith retiring from the Minnesota Vikings, especially because it's in the NFC. It's good that he is gone. But the big one, this is the offseason where Aaron Rodgers hangs him up. Green Bay gonna have to be moving on. Jordan Love, whomever they have at quarterback. Also, Brandon Graham of the Philadelphia Eagles retired. Thank you for everything, BG. Combine has finished, and I'm gonna have to go through literally everybody and try to find the best guys with the combine. But as it relates, we did get the throw power for the top quarterbacks, and we knew Joe North was on the outside looking in for the throw power. Comes out just good. So good means it's going to be like 85, 86. Not in love with that idea. But Gary Foote out of Kentucky, who's in our range right now, their 2 first picks, he popped elite strength, elite throw power. In terms of an athlete, 4.77. We don't need a whole lot of speed. It's a plus, right? It's a plus. What was Joel North's combine? 4.8. Yikes. We got Max Hughes, was another one of the outsider looking in type quarterbacks. He has great throw power and, solid athlete. Not really going to be one of those drafts where any of the top guys have ridiculous. But looking at Gary Foote, elite throw power, elite strength, that is great to know. But the top guy, Shane Drew, expected to go first overall. We got 4.6 speed, so one of the best athletes, arguably the best athlete, elite strength, elite throw power, elite change of direction. If we want a quarterback, Shane Drew is the guy. Only $14 billion of available salary cap. We do need to kind of trim a little fat on the roster to give us a little bit more wiggle room on the open market. Looking at the quarterback room, Tyler Huntley, it was an experiment. Wasn't anything too crazy, but $2.4 million can be better well spent. We'll keep Matt Corral on the roster. Honestly, Tyler Huntley was the only guy that made sense releasing. We got Derek Brown on a massive hit. We got CJ Henderson on a massive. We're not getting Henderson, especially after a breakout year. So the rest of our cap relief is going to come via trades. And there's 2 players, one that requests to move, one that just for frustration's sake I'm moving on from. So Christian McCaffrey is going to be traded, as is the revolving door. Maybe he's in a better scheme somewhere else. They'll be able to get back his form. But Taylor Moton also, because I should be able to get some decent value, he is gone. Don't pack it. Pack your bags. Get the fuck out. First up is Taylor Moton. We're going to the trade finder, and unlike Christian McCaffrey, I'm not going to take the best offer. I'm going to have a little bit of self-restraint. And really, the offers aren't that bad, for the fact like Moten 85, he just sucks for us. He's still an 85. He's only 30, so he's at his ceiling, but he's not going to regress right away. So I mean, like Juju, that's fair. Sidney Jones is fair. I don't really think you could get, I could sleep well at night taking Devin Lloyd, like a freaking high draft pick from the Jags right away. This is, if I was like, yes, that makes the most sense. I like Jabril Cox. Amon-Ra St. Brown will be awesome. But there's no way. That doesn't make sense. You wouldn't be trading Amon-Ra St. Brown. So the ones that do make sense, Elijah Moore's been on the trade block for the New York Jets. Since the trade deadline, they could not find a trade partner. And you get Jeremy Record, young tight end out of Ohio State. That makes some sense. Elijah Moore could come in. But Elijah Moore's a slot guy. And I do think DJ Moore has really settled in as our slot wide receiver. So, there's a little bit of limitations for what Elijah Moore can do. Now, another player that I think is kind of also a slot guy, gadget guy, but can play and maybe thrive a little bit more on the outside and is equally on the trade block is Kadarius Toney from the New York Giants. Kadarius Toney was on the trade block, could not find a trade partner. It's old regime. Brian Dable wants nothing to do with the personality that is Kadarius Toney. It's pulling at my Florida Gator heartstrings just a little bit. I'm a big fan of Kadarius Toney. I think changes scenery. Like both these guys. Taylor Moton, 85 right tackle. He's a top 10 right tackle in the NFL. Closer to top 5 than he is top 10. He needs a new spot. He needs a fresh start. Kadarius Toney needs a fresh start. However, Azudu at guard, second-year player, 70 overall. Not too bad. Pat Wilder, rookie running back. Don't really need those guys at this point, so I'm going to try to re-offer this. Taylor Moton for Kadarius Toney, and I think those two guys combined, maybe 4th-round pick. And that is what we were able to do. I said Taylor Moton. Giants were interested. We get Kadarius Toney. Fresh start for him. And, I mean, it's already been a success story for us. It was a fresh start for Laviska Shenault. He came out even though he lost his dev trade. He's been great for us, all things considered. Kadarius Toney also got the coach sign from Keith Taylor. Locker room's excited to bring a dynamic playmaker like that in, give him a fresh start here in Carolina. We also, because we're very limited in draft picks, we have our 2 firsts, a 3rd, a 5th. I want to try to get as much as I could, maximum value. So we got a 4th-round pick in this draft and a 7th-round pick in this draft. Now, Christian McCaffrey. So the offers for CMC, I'm going to be honest, a little disappointing. The best one is probably this one from the Bears, Jalen Johnson. Mike Hughes, Kyle, we don't need literally zero interest in corners. Zero interest in wide receivers, let alone 2 guys that are well over 30. Zero interest in corners. This one's a little bit better. Bassey played well, especially now we have an opening at tackle, and he's hidden depth tackle. He's solid, but Sidney Jones, don't need him. And that's like a big part of that trade. Absolutely don't need him whatsoever. 2nd-round picks, the best pick we got. I don't need a running back. Don't want to replace him right away. I think Chuba Hubbard. I'd rather go Chuba Hubbard than see what Tim Lasley has. You got Amari Melvin from the Texans at tackle. You got Thaddeus Arnaud, the pass rush from Jets. I'll go check. Maybe if they're superstar or something like that, that could be intriguing. But right now, best value is this. And even then, it doesn't make sense. Josh Allen is a pass rusher. I looked into Jason Schaub. He's also a pass rusher and a 3rd-round pick this year. I might have to go find someone for a trade. But let's go look at this Jets guy. Let's go look at the Jets guy and the tackle there. Amari Melvin was like the top tackle in last year's draft class. So let's look at the pass rusher and the tackle. So the pass rusher for the Jets, not even a starter. And he's Stardev. Nope. The Texans here, Amari Melvin's not even the starter. Behind Laramie Tunsil, Stardev, 76. I mean, this is as good as a 1st-round pick, potentially. The Texans gave us at least the avenue to our trade partner, where we are sending the best offensive player in the NFL. It's almost a punishment, right? Texans are... He wanted to trade. He didn't say where he wanted to get traded to. We assumed he wanted to go to a winner, but there's also a little bit of sportsmanship going on here. It's like, well, you wouldn't want to be here. We'll get you out. You can go somewhere else, but we're kind of picking where you're going. So we have sent Christian McCaffrey, our 3rd-round pick this year, and our 3rd-round pick next year to the Houston Texans for left tackle Melvin. 76 Stardev going into 2nd year for us. He's going to go right to right tackle, be an upgrade, I assume, I hope, and a much more cost-efficient option than Taylor Moton. And we got the Texans' 2nd first-round pick. Their first round pick, I believe, was pick 11, 9 or 11, I think. I think it was 11. So they had pick 11 and 13 in the 2024 draft. I couldn't actually get 11. I tried. So we got pick 13. So they had a little bit more luxury, a little bit more liberty with those first round picks because, you know, they even giving up a first rounder, they still have almost a top 10 pick. Now they have the best offensive weapon in the NFL, and we have at least a replacement for Taylor Moton and a third first round pick this year to either get a quarterback or completely rebuild the team. But also, if I had some royalty-free somber music, we just got rid of one of the biggest reasons why I picked the Carolina Panthers for my Madden 23 franchise mode, Christian McCaffrey, one of my favorite players in the NFL. And B, we literally just lost about 60% of our offensive production in one trade. Needs to be said, after all these moves, we did clear a little bit of salary cap, but we also have a massive, like, what is that, 25, almost $26 million in dead cap penalties. It's tough. You know, if we didn't have that, imagine we could literally probably sign 2 to 3 extra free agents. Free agency. Now that the trades, the dust has settled, it is now time to factor in the fact that we have 3 first-round picks as of right now and fill in free agency and how it can align with the strengths and weaknesses of the draft, guys that we want to target in the draft. And I've got through an initial wave of like what I think I want to do. We don't have a crazy amount of salary cap. Like our biggest asset this offseason is our draft picks, not our salary cap. So Rashawn Gary, you got Darren Waller, Devin White, Cam Akers, a lot of good talent at running backs. J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift's there, Jerry Jeudy's there, Daniil Hunter. Like, we're not going to be able to afford any of these guys, especially with the amount of holes that we currently still have on our roster. So before we look at the quarterbacks, I'll show you kind of what I am looking for. Wrote down our team needs, and this is what we're looking. So first, I think I am ready for Chuba Hubbard to, you know, he's gonna be our lead back. Let's see what happens there. But I do think I want a little bit more of a power back element. And even though Zach Moss, 5'9", 205, he don't really scream power back, he is a ball of razor blades. And luckily enough, he still pops with a star dev trait. Can't really overpay him. We're coming in with a 2-bar offer, but 91 carrying, 82 ball carrier vision, 88 break tackle, 85 trucking, 82 stiff arm. That is why I want to bring in Zach Moss. I think he's a great compliment versus Chuba Hubbard's more of the finesse, more of the straight line speed guy. I think Zach Moss would be a great asset to our running back room. We need depth at linebacker behind Roquan Smith. So Josh Winslow was a guy that Luke Kuechly identified last year. Kind of made a couple plays down straight. I don't think there's going to be a massive market for him. So we're actually going to play the game of, like, let's lowball him. You know, maybe he's one of our homegrown talents. Hometown discount wants to come back, play with Luke Kuechly. But he's just a depth linebacker. I'm not going to overpay, especially with our limited salary cap. And look what I found. Zane Gonzalez has been a great kicker for us. There's a superstar kicker available. Would have been a UDFA out of Ohio State. Mitchell Hartman doesn't look ridiculous. You know, when you look at the stats, it's not like he has 97 kick power or anything crazy like that. He's a solid kicker. What are we dealing with here? We have, wow, all the way down here, 93 kick power, 68 accuracy. So it's more so the dev trait, but I'm incredibly intrigued by that dev trait. So we're gonna see if we can lock him in there, have a little bit of fun with that. But the remaining $22 million of salary cap, it's about the quarterbacks. What does the quarterback market look like? And Jalen Hurts, of course he is, for me, the top quarterback. I mean, outside of that, there's some veterans. Kirk Cousins, Jimmy G, Mariota. Tyler Huntley, we just released, is one of the better options. You got Minshew Mania. Jordan Love is there. Drew Lock, Trubisky, Heineke, PJ Walker. You got Josh Rosen, Kyle Trask. I would not hate having Kyle Trask on the roster, to be completely honest with you. But, you know, as much as that's Gator bias, we already got our fill of Gator bias with the Kadarius Toney trade. So as it relates to Jalen Hurts, it's Jalen Hurts. It's Jalen Hurts is the top quarterback available. You're going to have to overpay to get Jalen Hurts. There's already 4 other offers on him. So I'm not saying this is going to stand because you can obviously retract an offer. But, like, we have barely enough. We don't have enough salary cap to sign our draft picks if we offer him the minimum offer. And where that offer places us, we still don't even have a chance at him. There's another, you got Atlanta, you got Tennessee, the Giants, the Detroit Lions. Like, I would have been all in on Jalen Hurts as a potential option if he wasn't as expensive. I mean, that's kind of like, literally feels like rinse and repeat what we said last year with Baker Mayfield. But, I mean, sure, the resurrection of Jalen Hurts in real life makes it a little bit more interesting, but he still very much is 86 throw power. That's not getting better anytime soon. He's 26, so this is going to be his final contract. You shouldn't expect massive leaps and bounds unless you could pop a dev trade scenario for him. So we are going to kind of sit out the quarterback bidding war. And I guess from that, we have a little bit more money. Maybe we be aggressive somewhere else, or maybe we have that cap and carry it over to next season. Our salary cap went down. I'm thinking of something here. Instead of Zach Moss, Cam Akers is there, running back, top running back. You got J.K. Dobbins, superstar running back. You got A.J. Dillon, if you want the power option. But no one's gonna like Chuba Hubbard more than me. Chuba Hubbard was a star for us in Madden 22. Chuba Hubbard is Canadian. I would love to, but the Chuba Hubbard is 25, the same age as DeAndre Swift. Chuba Hubbard does not have a receiver skill set, and I feel like we're still taking that Joe Brady offense that influences a receiving running back, a pass catcher running back, a running back that can thrive with the Texas route. That is an element that we have become incredibly comfortable with here in this Panthers series. We have a history with an injury-prone running back not being injury-prone with our team. We have an excellent medical staff, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So looking at someone like DeAndre Swift, the third best running back on the market, might not have the most speed, which is very anti-pink slips of me, but as it relates to what running back can come in, way cheaper than Christian McCaffrey. So like, if we're kind of talking about moving assets around, obviously McCaffrey's 99 X factor, but you got 72 catching, you got 72 short route running. No one even compares for the receiving ability and the upside of the running back room right now than DeAndre Swift, be it Chuba Hubbard, unfortunately. And I mean, maybe that's the best role for Chuba Hubbard. Someone like DeAndre Swift, much like Christian McCaffrey, we cannot, even though we got into reckless amount of touches and carries for Christian McCaffrey, there was still the element of like Christian McCaffrey's injury prone. Let's feature a lot more Chuba Hubbard, have a true kind of committee, even though it was still a Christian McCaffrey show. But Chuba Hubbard had that role. Chuba Hubbard can still get 10 rushes a game, especially if the game script kind of dictates that. I think that won't change with DeAndre Swift. Maybe that's the best way to use Chuba Hubbard is as a legitimate change of pace back. But I think with our available salary cap, we're not going to overpay. There's a chance we swing and a miss on DeAndre. I don't want to overpay for a DeAndre Swift. But I think it'd be foolish just to sit on our salary cap and say, we don't have Christian McCaffrey. We're going with a 70. Like, look, when we go on DeAndre Swift, what is Chuba? We're going to go with a 25-78 normal dev running back. I feel like that's a little bit foolish. That's a little bit short-sighted. That's a little too much Canadian bias, if you will, just to full-on give the job to Chuba Hubbard. Why not bring in someone like DeAndre Swift, who if he does go down, fine. We got Chuba Hubbard as our lead back. But he comes in as a more affordable, similar style option to what we just lost in Christian McCaffrey, and we still have Chuba Hubbard. We could still up even the amount of carries that Chuba Hubbard gets, because unlike Christian McCaffrey, who you can't take that X factor off the field, you might be a little bit more lenient in, not having DeAndre Swift out there as much as we had Christian McCaffrey. So I say all of that in saying that ultimately I'm going to throw in a bid. It's not going to be a max bid or anything crazy like that, but we will throw our hat in DeAndre Swift. Not a lot of interest there originally, but knowing that there's a good opportunity to come to a team that, given the quarterback market, is going to have a fresh, brand new quarterback, it could be intriguing. So that is going to be our first wave of free agency. We're looking at DeAndre Swift, Josh Winslow, Mitchell Hart. Let's go. First, nothing. No one else has come in, which is good. Second wave. I mean, I don't think with these bids we're going to get any day one signings, but there we go. There's one. The big one has dropped. DeAndre Swift, 4 years. Welcome. I expect you and Chuba Hubbard carry the load next year. And in the sim to stage 2, Mitchell Hart, the kicker, has signed on the dotted line. We got him locked up. We got to the end of stage 2. Winslow's still kind of waiting. And I almost wonders, should we just offer him a couple more bucks? I will give you $1 million signing bonus for 2 years. How about that? Draft 4 is in. Wow, quarterback jumped way up there. I suppose it was the elite throw power. Last mock for us, we have Jared Sheldon. He's like, it's a reach, it's a second, third. Yes, we've showed interest in him. He looks pretty dope. Honestly, would be on our board in the first round. But come on, he's supposed to be our sleeper. Don't be putting that on display. What an asshole move. And we're going still back to the tight end. Absolutely not grabbing a tight end early like that. Finally, free agent, we got Josh Winslow to sign on the dotted line. So we have our depth linebacker. I would like to get a tight end. at some point during free agency. Harrison Bryant, former Mackey winner, former top tight end in college football, but at this point, we're almost looking at league minimum. Might as well just wait till he'll probably still be there after the draft. We just get him on a 1 cheap year deal because I am looking to add 2 tight ends to the roster, especially because I do want to move Ian Thomas full-time to fullback. So our draft is ready. Our free agency is completed, and we've added DeAndre Swift, and we brought back Winslow, and we got ourselves a superstar kicker. We have a decision here on the 5th-year option. Who is this? J.C. Horn? J.C. Horn, 5th-year option. Incredibly easy call. No-brainer. He is a player we want to prioritize. Absolutely. We're going to be picking up his 5th-year option for the best corner in the NFL. And we have another 5th-year option. This is for Kadarius Toney. Now, I did not trade for him with the idea that we're just going to let him walk. He is going to be a dynamic playmaker for us. Maybe that's why the Giants are so willing to trade him, because they had no intentions of picking up that 5th-year option. But we're going to do so. I'm excited to see what Kadarius Toney can bring to the offense. So looking at the top free agency signings across the league, Darren Waller going to the Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers. That was something that was rumored to potentially happen at the trade deadline. In real life, Devin White going to the Giants. Cam Akers going to the Packers. Packers spending big-time bucks. Brandon Ayuk, the speedster, going to the Detroit Lions. J.K. Dobbins going to the Seattle Seahawks. Got a Wouzier there. Slay going back to the Detroit Lions. Daniil Hunter going to the Saints. So that's going to have to, we're going to have to deal with that within the division. Lindstrom leaving the division, going to the Giants. Bobby Wagner going back to the Seattle Seahawks. This is just the run-it-back free agency period. Falcons get Miles Jack. I was interested actually in throwing in a bid here for Miles Jack and moving him to outside linebacker. But the fact that with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Roquan Smith, I mean, there was a chance we flirted with the idea of potentially trading Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But, we primarily run with just 2 linebackers on the field. It doesn't make sense to have 3 expensive linebackers. Jordan Fuller going to the Broncos. Gabe Davis moving to the Saints in the division. Seems like a lot of the annoying signings are coming to the NFC South. Trent Brown, you got John Johnson, the Lions. Shaq Thompson. That sting, you just had to move on. Can't sign everybody. He's going to the Denver Broncos. Best wishes. Fletcher Cox going to the Seattle Seahawks. We got Darnell Savage, Stardev, going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Bryce Hall going to the Bucks, coming in the division. They get themselves a nice corner. Darnell Mooney, the speedster, another weapon man. Green Bay spending big time bucks. Robbie Anderson, the legend, for half a season. I didn't even think, how many episodes did Robbie Anderson make? Like 2 episodes? He's going to Atlanta. There's going to be revenge opportunities there. I can already see him utilizing that 95 speed and toasting us. That's about it. Jalen Hurts, top quarterback, staying within the NFC East, going to the New York. So the Giants and the Packers, the big time spenders for this free agency period. Wow, surprising. But then again, with no Aaron Rodgers, the Packers had a whole lot of money to spend. Final mock draft before we do our private workouts. Now with our 3 first-round picks, obviously there's not going to be a lot of movement. Still got Jarrett Sheldon at linebacker, at tight end, at 23. We're going 2 tight ends. Really, last piece of business we could do for this video is the private workouts ahead of the draft. And we ended the draft. We needed a running back potentially, but that's not really priority. It's quarterback. One of these 3, which, we have them fully scouted. We're going to have to trade up for them on draft day if that's what we want to do. But as it relates to the rest of the draft and where we can pick, Emmett Harris looks like an amazing corner. If I had to say one guy that could be like a generational top guy, it's probably him. But our corners, where's he gone? We don't need a corner. The spots that we need, if you had to find 2 positions that we arguably could look for a starter, day 1 starter with our 3 first-round picks. Center, I like Bradley Bozeman, but, he's at his ceiling. So I think for that, Brent Edwards is going to be worth a private workout. He might be the top center. This guy here, Keelan Smith out of Tennessee. I hate that there's F run blocking, but he might be just a late round. Screw it. Let's see what he has. But why? I'm intrigued by Brent Edwards. So let's do our homework on the top center. See if he's going to be worth getting in day 2 to come in and challenge. And linebacker. We need left outside linebackers. Not a priority, but I still would like a good linebacker, a fun young linebacker to kind of complete that room just a little bit. And we have Jarrett Sheldon, who we've been mocked with. He was a guy Luke Kuechly kind of fell in love with. He's 2nd, 3rd round, but I want a little bit more information. We got the A pursuit, B zone coverage, and he's an exceptional athlete. Very, very good athlete. So I want to do a little bit of homework on him. And another linebacker looks interesting is Justin Brock out of Iowa State. Another day 2 type player, because day 1 is going to be so much focus on what we want to do with the quarterbacks. But he has B block shed, A zone coverage. He's an elite athlete. I feel like both those guys, we have, Brandon Smith, who's a great athlete, but, somewhat of a limited ceiling right now because he's on that normal dev. And I really do think, both those guys. You know what, though? I'm gonna swap out that center because those are death picks. I can burn a second round pick on kind of a blind pick. I do think at this spot there needs to be, what if we can't trade for a quarterback? If we don't trade for a quarterback, what do we need? Like, do we need a pass rusher? Are we going to be in range to get a potential pass rusher? Looking at our favorites that are in the first round, we got Will Burton at strong safety. I don't think we got to rush that one by any means. We have Anthony Hobbs, wide receiver out of Texas. Don't really need the wide receiver, especially with the addition of Kadarius Toney. I'm going to be honest, even though we don't really need a tight end, this guy looks like he could be amazing. Isaiah Perry, considering it. Second, third round, considering it. Sean Rushing at defensive tackle, don't immediately need, but look at that. B's across the board. Good athlete as well. Do we need a D-tackle, though? We've got a D-tackle last year. We got Derek Brown. But Derek Brown's in a contract year, so Sean Rushing could kind of prioritize that. I really just want a sneak peek at this corner. This guy here, if there's a generational player in this draft, it is going to be Emmett Harris. But even then, we wouldn't draft him. It'd be a wasted sneak peek, if you will. It's like, this guy here could be fucking. There's the three. Like, now it's coming down to, like, what guy do I want the most information on, right? Who do I like? I feel like Isaiah Perry. There's a chance he's multiple A's. Is that going to be a guy we want to pull the trigger on? Or we got Tommy Tremble. Especially Tommy Tremble came on late. And I think if you look, this is tough. Because it's like Sean Rushing makes sense because Derek Brown's in a contract year. What if we don't have enough money to bring back Derek Brown? It could be worth having another defensive tackle. That's, God damn it. I feel like Rushing, we have all the B's there. We're going to go with the tight end. We'll go with the tight end, even though we've been mocking the idea of drafting a tight end. This is about gaining knowledge, and we know that D-tackle has all B's, right? So how much more are we really going to unlock there? At least here, we might get a clear picture of Isaiah Perry is like, oh shit, can't miss tight end. Maybe you just draft him anyway because he's BPA, and then we'll get our two linebackers, Sheldon and Brock. I'm not even simming to the draft week. We're going to stay right here. Hopefully that update goes live. I will keep you guys on Twitter at PapaXC4 anytime I get any updates, any word on anything like that that relates to the draft glitch and when that update is going live. I will let you know, but I ain't going to be messing with it. I'm going away for a wedding. Hopefully when I come back, everything's working great, and it's not all hellfire and brimstone all over social media, Madden, Twitter, that it doesn't work still. So this is where we are finishing. We got 3 first-round picks in hand. We're going to be aggressive for a quarterback, but as it stands right now, quarterback aside, DeAndre Swift and Chuba Hubbard are going to be our 1-2 punch. No more Christian McCaffrey. Instead, we have Melvin, who was a top pick last year, just didn't really work out for the Houston Texans. Like, I'm pretty sure he was like a top 5 pick last year. He was the number 2 pick. And they found that he was just absolutely not a scheme. It happens. It absolutely happens. So we have got an S-tier type prospect. We almost got pretty much 2 first-round picks for Christian McCaffrey, which is what I was looking for all along. We now have a brand new right tackle. Hopefully he is not as much of a revolving door as Taylor Moton was. We got Kadarius Toney at wide receiver looking, the base rating looks great. Don't get me wrong, but he is looking for a fresh start. He has not proven anything yet in this league. And look at that, 93 speed, 96 acceleration. We got 92 catching with our boost, 85 short running, 93 agility. That should probably be even higher. 93 agility, 95 change of direction, 93 juke move. That might not be doing him justice. And you know what? He also has a little bit of a QB skill set. He was originally a quarterback recruit for my Florida Gators. So that is the offense. Changes on the defense. Well, nothing too crazy. The starters are pretty much the assumed starters. We brought back Winslow for depth at linebacker, but as you can see, Keith Taylor, no one's touching Keith Taylor's spot. But if you had to look like where are we going on the defensive side of the ball, it's Derek Brown is in the last year of his contract, so maybe we think future plan. But even if you want a future plan, you grab a great D tackle, he's not seeing the field. So you're most likely, if he has a dev, going to be wasting a dev trait because he's not going to be playing to maintain that. Or outside linebacker. As it stands right now, we prioritize the fact that we have 2 linebackers on the field. Maybe Brandon Smith is fine. Exceptional athlete, which is usually what we like to draft. And he's fine in his current role. He's not going to see the field a whole lot. And when he does, maybe that athleticism will pop. Like, there is a very legitimate shot that outside of quarterback, like, this team is ready to go. And we're going to focus on that. We're going to recognize that when we are trying to decide what quarterback we want to try to have for, if we can even do so. But that will be for the next episode, fellas. Hope you enjoyed the offseason to this point. Massive changes for this Panthers team ahead of year 3. Now, really, all the hard work has been done. The disgruntled players have been gone. The new players have been in, and it's all for the draft. So let me know what you guys think we should be doing in the draft. Let me know what you guys think about free agency in the comment section below. That'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Getting very close to 160,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Leave a comment in the comment section below. The YouTube robots appreciate that. I love reading through these, especially want to see your guys' feedback from this offseason. And I will see you back here on the next one. I don't know when that's going to be. Monday? If everything goes well, I'll be back from the wedding and stuff Monday. I'll do the draft Monday if everything's been fixed. Hopefully it's been fixed. I hope for you guys it's been fixed. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, it's your boy C4. Say peace out. Love you. Have a good one.